So TechCrunch just published an article calling any SEO who uses expired domains a scammer. And this brings up two important questions. Number one, is this the end of using expired domains for SEO? And number two, are you a scammer if you use expired domains for SEO? So watch until the end because I'll answer both of these questions and how you can fly under Google's radar when using expired domains. So question number one, is it unethical to use expired domains for SEO? First, no one owns a domain name unless they have a trademark. This is a free market. And if you let your domain expire, then anyone can buy it. If you were unethical, then publicly traded companies like GoDaddy wouldn't exist. In fact, Spamzilla and other expired domain tools are simply curating expired domains from services like GoDaddy. And it's funny that the article's author alluded to the idea that Spamzilla and other expired domain companies are illegitimate, but GoDaddy and Namecheap are the real kingpins in the domain marketplace. So TechCrunch is willing to slander small companies to get clicks, but wouldn't dare call out GoDaddy because they're far more powerful. Second, not everyone buys expired domains for SEO purposes. Some people like the brand name and want to build something new. Third, it's not a scam to leverage an existing backlink profile for SEO gain. Google is not the internet police, and backlinks are a key ranking factor that only SEO geeks pay attention to, and the rest of the world doesn't care or even know what backlinks are. So when you buy an expired domain to leverage a backlink profile, no one is harmed. And it's all happening on the back end to manipulate Google's algorithm. And people hear the word manipulate and get super nervous, but anyone trying to improve their rankings on Google is engaging in some type of manipulation. Now keep in mind, if you're using expired domains to rank terrible content, it'll be short-lived anyway. Links aren't the only factor, and you need to add real value. So with that out of the way, let me show you how you can leverage expired domains for SEO benefits. Number one, build a new website on the expired domain. You can benefit from the existing link profile and rank much faster than starting with a brand new domain. And many successful affiliate marketers use this technique. In most cases, a brand new website will take at least a year to pick up traction. For example, look at the traffic growth of this niche website that we own. The first and even second year is slow. Ironically, this domain is using expired domains for link building purposes. More on this in a second. But starting a website on a quality expired domain can cut the time to see SEO results in half. Now keep in mind, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows though.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it.
Building a site on an expired domain can be risky because you're inheriting the old link profile, which may not be 100% relevant. It's also a gamble because you're introducing factors outside of your control. And that's why I prefer new websites, because you're in complete control. The second way to leverage expired domains for SEO is to, number two, use the merger technique. So I coined this method back in 2015 and still use it today. In short, you'll find relevant, expired, or even live domains with strong relevant link profiles and 301 redirect them to your website. Now keep in mind, you have to do this intelligently. In most cases, you shouldn't 301 redirect to your homepage because you'll inherit all of the existing anchor text. Instead, you'll need to create content on your site to support that redirect. For example, we acquired a domain bootstobusiness.org when it expired, which has powerful links from SBA.gov and many other authoritative websites. We then created an article about the previous program to make the 301 as natural as possible. And this example is also proof that using expired domains works for SEO. For example, the keyword boots to business has a 53% keyword difficulty in SEMrush, which is classified as difficult to rank for, and it also gets 1,300 searches per month. My page has been ranking on the first page of Google since 2020, and the links from this expired domain are fueling those rankings. Now, before you use the merger technique, a word of caution. Search the trademark database to ensure you aren't infringing on any company's right. Technically, you could fight it because no one owns a domain name once it's on the free market. However, most companies would bury you in legal costs, which wouldn't make it worth it. Second, use the merger technique sparingly. For example, I wouldn't recommend redirecting any more than 3 domains to any given site. Number 3, use a tool like Spamzilla to find and vet expired domains. I have a tutorial on my channel and I'll drop the link below. But here's a simple checklist to vet expired domains. Number 1, is the domain relevant? Okay, so when you're trying to decide if an expired domain is a good option for you, what you need to do is first go to the Wayback Machine and just see if this domain is relevant. So we're just gonna go and try to find the most recent time that this website was live. So all I'm trying to do is see if this domain is relevant to the target domain. So in this case, that's going to be Gotcha SEO. So Gotcha SEO is in the business vertical, so this is going to be relevant. No, it's not specifically to SEO, but it's still within the same larger niche. So this is a very good sign. So this is perfect, and I'm going to move on to step number 2. Number 2, is the link profile relevant? All right, so now I'm inside Ahrefs, and what I want to see is the link profile relevant to the website that we're going to be 301 redirecting to. So when we start to look at these links here, we can actually get rid of the no follow. So we'll just look at do follow links. And then what we can see here is we can sort by DR. So we'll see the strongest websites up front. And then we just want to see, are these websites that we would want to be linking to us? So we have CNBC, which is great. We have Biz Journals. We have SBA.gov. We have American Express. We have expertise.com. So, some very, very good links going to this site. So this is a good sign. Military.com, bankofamerica.com. So these are terrific. And this is a perfect situation to examine, because it's not always about having the most relevant links going to the site, because you can make up the relevance gap with pure authority. So these links are pure authority, pure trust. These are some of the most trusted websites in the world. And so if you have those linking to you, it's going to be extremely valuable. And so the goal should be to get links on sites that are really extremely authoritative. That's what we're trying to do. So that's why I sort by DR, because I want to see what are the strongest websites that are linking to this business. And also you want to see that they have a lot of traffic too. So lots of authority, lots of traffic, both really good signs. Now let's move on to the next step. Number 3, is the link profile high quality? So like I mentioned before, these links are extremely high quality, and we can determine quality based on DR and domain traffic. And like I mentioned, getting a link from boston.gov, yes, it's not SEO focused, but it doesn't matter because it's a .gov and it's incredibly valuable. It's a very valuable link that we would want. So like I mentioned, obviously in a perfect world, you would have exact relevance, but in a case like this will overwhelm any type of relevance. For example, let's say you got a DR10 link from an SEO blog. It would have very little impact compared to getting a link from boston.gov that has a DR of 82 and they get 350,000 organic search visitors per month. So there are trade-offs here. So I would much rather get an extremely authoritative link than a link that's just relevant but doesn't have authority. It's just the simple math here. And these are much better links to get. So if you can get extremely high authority links and they're just kind of general relevance, it's going to be extremely powerful for you. Number 4, is the link profile free of link spam? Next thing we want to do is you just want to look to see if there's any potential signs of spam. So we look through here, and one way you can look for spam is actually to do this in reverse. So we're starting to look here and we see that these are mostly high authority links, so nothing to be concerned about. But what you can do is you can actually go to domain traffic and then do to 100. And what I'm doing is I'm going to start looking at websites that have low traffic that are linking to the site. So start to look through here and see if there's anything spammy that exists. And for the most part, it looks like, the general links that almost every website gets, scrapers and things like that. And then overall, nothing alarming here, right? There's no over-optimized anchor text. Everything's pretty branded. And these are just some, lower authority links that aren't going to hurt you. So just want to make sure that there aren't Web 2.0 links or spammy directory links or anything that just seems really alarming or like a red flag. And if you don't see that, then that's a really good sign. Number 5, does the link profile have under-optimized anchor text? Next thing we want to do is we want to go to the anchor section. We want to see, is the anchor text under-optimized? So when we look at this is absolutely perfect anchor text. So we have Boots to Business, which is branded. These is all, actually the first 4 anchor texts are all branded anchor text, which is beautiful. This is exactly what we should be looking for. We don't want a bunch of keyword rich anchor text in the profile, because what that's going to do is that's going to send to the site, and that's not going to really help the site relevance very much. So in a case like this, we're going to be 301 redirecting this domain to a specific page that talks about Boots to Business. So the anchor text will match the target page. And so we'll go back up here and I'll show you when we go to the actual page that we've created, you'll see that it's about Boots to Business. So that anchor text that you just saw, go back to the anchor text, Boots to Business is exactly 100% relevant to this page. And so we're building extremely strong relevance. And this is why you wouldn't want a 301 redirect to the homepage, because I don't want Boots to Business as my anchor on the homepage, because the homepage should be Gotcha SEO or Nathan Gotch or Gotcha SEO Academy. Those should be the brand anchor text for the homepage. But for this page, this is perfectly fine. Number 6, does the domain have a clean history? Next thing you want to do is go into Wayback Machine and see if it has a clean history. So we'll go ahead and look through here. Looks pretty clean. Go to the next date. And then it looks like at some point they redirected to sba.gov or something like that. So totally fine. There's no signs of spam or anything with this domain. So this one's all good to go, but make sure you always go to the Wayback Machine and ensure that this domain hasn't been used for link spam or malicious purposes or anything bad. You know, you really want to get a domain that really has only had one type of objective, right? Or it's only been one type of website. You don't want to get a domain that's been through multiple iterations and different people who've had it and different types of websites that have been built on that domain. You got to be careful of that. But more importantly, just make sure that the domain hasn't been used for spam. And lastly, number 7, does it make sense to 301 redirect this domain? Okay, and so the last part of this is totally qualitative analysis, but is this the right domain to 301 redirect to your site? So in this case, I determined that this was the right domain, but I needed to do it in a very smart way. So what we did is we created a blog post to inherit all of these links. So this domain is 301 redirecting to this specific page. Now, there are some issues, and this is one thing you have to do when you start to implement a redirect is hopefully in a perfect situation, you could just do a registrar redirect. So that means going into GoDaddy, sending that redirect to whatever page you've created. That's a perfect situation. But sometimes you're gonna have to deal with some issues. So looking at their link profile, you can go to Best by Links and see what pages have links. So you're gonna see there's a couple problems here. So when we click on this, it's gonna go perfectly redirect to the page we want. But when we look over here, we have this page here, which is not 301 redirecting. So sometimes you can have some issues with the registrar, and you have to determine if you want to put that domain actually on hosting, because that's really, at the end of the day, is the only sure bet to make sure that these are redirecting correctly, is you need to have it on its own hosting. So that increases the cost of having that expired domain, and that ensures that you're getting these links and getting the authority going to the site. Now, we've done a few different redirects here on this site, and one thing is this situation here is perfect for a full site-wide redirect going to just this particular page here. That works. But we've had other redirects where they had links going to many different pages, right? So like if we go, I'll just actually show you, we'll go to Gotcha SEO just to show you a website that has a completely different scenario. So when we look at Gotcha SEO, you'll see that, like, let's say Gotcha SEO was acquired, right? You couldn't just 301 redirect Gotcha SEO to someone's homepage, because the problem with that is you have all of these pages that have links themselves, right? So we have buy backlinks, best CMS for SEO, like we have all these internal pages that have links. So what you'd want to do is you want to have pages that would inherit those links. So, let's say someone acquired this site, they would need to have a blog post about the best CMS for SEO or the best CMSs or something relevant, at least closely relevant to whatever that is. And then you would 301 redirect on a page by page basis. So if you do an acquisition like this, and there's a lot of pages with links going to the internal pages, it's a much larger process, right? So you have to plan very carefully. But in the case of Boots to Business, it's much easier because you're basically just 301 redirecting the whole site to that one page. So got to use your best judgment, but for the most part, if you're doing one like this, you really need to plan it out well and make sure you have pages that can inherit those links. That's the best way to go about doing this. Now, I will say that TechCrunch was right about one thing in this article. Don't do anything sketchy, pretend to be the previous brand, or use their old content. But you can definitely use expired domains to build website authority and build a new website on top of it. So that's all I have for you today. Please like this video and subscribe to get first access to the next video. Thank you so much for watching.